we're going to ask you if you could just step to one side so we can see the Parker family and the Herrera family.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Our fighters.
There you go. All right. Thank you. Go ahead.
Wow. Wow.
Okay, we just need to keep, so the press,
Okay. You can stand on the street.
yeah, why don't you come forward?
Yeah, this is the house of
Stand in front of you. This is Faith Parker, woman whose home we're in front of. Ma'am, you'd like to tell the press something about who you are and what the situation is you're facing? Thank you.
All right. Thank you, first place, for coming here and your support. And in all of my 79 years, almost 80 in October, I've never dreamed of such a support. I am so excited. I just hope I can live through this evening. I am very, very, very happy. My philosophy is to help people help themselves. And I love to give. I'm a volunteer everywhere I can. I'm a vegetarian. I can do as much as I can to help myself and other people. My daughter is born on my birthday, and we're very close. She's the first child. I have 3 daughters and no grandchildren.
Oh no!
Come on! Something went wrong with me. But anyway, I'm very, very happy to be here. I'm thankful to you, and I have a very strong feeling that your support here is going to help support me and my property.
And more, as importantly, help other people who don't have you standing in front of their house.
That's what
There's a lot of people that didn't write faxes and send letters and bury people in emails and scrape up pennies and send out registered letters. There's a lot of people that are afraid in their houses, scared to come out, scared their lock will be changed, frightened and afraid, and we're here not just for us, we're here for them.
All right. Yeah. Oh.
It's really important that you guys are here. I feel so honored. My goodness gracious. And the reason why we're here is Bank of America foreclosed on my mother's home. They told her they were going to work with her to give her loan modifications. And that started in 2009. And we kept submitting paperwork over and over and over and over and over and over and over. But everything seemed to be fine. Oh, we've got all the paperwork. Oh, you no need to call us daily, even though I did. And then they foreclosed. But we didn't even know it was going to happen. Then they said, well, we denied you for a loan modification because you had 2 loan modifications with Countrywide. I said, no, we had 1 in 2008. They said, well, we have proof. I said, send me proof. The proof was the one in 2008 and a blank sheet of paper. No signs, no notary, no nothing for the second non-existent loan modification. So the reason they turned us down did not exist. And I thought, they can't want this little tiny old house that much. And we're willing to do loan modifications? What's wrong with them? Well, we kind of think we know what's wrong with them. It's called greed.
Yeah.
And fraud. Yeah, and elder abuse. Yeah. We'll stomp all over her. But she didn't figure on you guys. She didn't figure on me. They didn't figure on me either. But nobody gets to take my mommy's house.
That's right.
Thank you,
Now we
Sandra.
got to fight.
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Faith.
And please let me know if Faith and Sandra can ever do anything for you.
Yeah, I have a silver list if anybody wants to go.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce Ms. Berta Herrera. If you could also, she's also facing foreclosure. If you could introduce yourself, please, and tell them something about you and what you're going through today.
My name is Berta Herrera, and I am, and I do have grandchildren. And they're precious. My son and my grandchildren partly were raised. My son was raised in that home. I've been there 32 years. And my son grew up there, and my grandchildren grew up there partially until they moved away out of the county. We have been there, we're part of that community, and I was foreclosed because I missed my payments after a loan modification that I was set up with, because after the loan modification, they had a plan. They had told me that I didn't have to make payments 3 months for 3 months after that. I didn't make one payment, and they sent me a 30-day notice that I was late 30 days. I was totally set up. From then on, I was in the rears. I was facing a lot of repairs at the home. So I wrote them a letter explaining to them that I would get caught up. Eventually, I tried to get caught up in November. But however, in the midst of that, in August and September, they absorbed my insurance, my homeowner's insurance, even though I had already covered it. But they pretended like they didn't know that it was under their former servicer, which they are together with. And they paid the $2,000+ of the insurance. So they started applying my payments towards the insurance and the taxes, which I was making payments on. So now I'm delinquent, and I forfeited on the foreclosure on the loan modification. In November, I try to get caught up, all while I'm dealing with them, sending them notices that I had paid my taxes, that I had paid my insurance. And even though I got a letter from them stating, yes, you did, we received your document, even so, the other department, the collections department, refused to hear me out, and then they refused my payments. I am not delinquent, and this is the judge that accused me of not making my payments, and the banks that say I did not make my payments. I tried to get caught up and pay my bills, but they would not allow me. After that, of course, it was nothing but harassing letters at one time I got 15 letters of the same kind. Same address, same person, 15 letters, and I have them all to prove to you. So I could go on and on, but what I want to say, I want to stop here and say I thank all of you so much. I thank Occupy, I thank Carlos, I thank the people that have supported us. I don't know what I would be facing, because my nephew went to court yesterday. He was mistreated, abused by the attorney from the bank. He was mistreated by the judge. He was served I don't know how many pages it was, a thick document. Immediately after my nephew had filed, they managed to put that together against me. And so he went through a lot. Had we not had their support, your support, I don't know where we would be today. I don't know how I would be today. I thank you so much. I have gone through a lot of anguish. So has my nephew, my son, my family. And my mother was crying last night. She couldn't stop crying to imagine, because she's not here, imagining how I was feeling. These people don't know how many families and how many people they affect. It is like a rock in a lake. It ripples. It has a ripple effect, not only to our family, to our neighbors, to our community, and the generations that are coming upon. My grandchildren and all of our relatives that are affected. So many people are affected, not just the one person. You know, so I thank you again. I thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce community organizer Father and
All right, well, you know, it's been pretty much said, and you know, I was talking with Bertha the other day, and the truth came out to me. You know, what these banks are doing to these foreclosures is they are literally hitting our communities where they live. Okay? In black and brown communities in particular, if a family has been able to accumulate a home, it is usually the product of several generations of effort to secure that property against redlining, against racial discrimination, against economic discrimination, and against the natural workings of a system that treats people in disparate ways for unreasonable reasons. And we all know that, okay? But the truth is, again, as Bertha just said, when homes are lost in our community, it is not just the homeowner who is impacted. the homes in our communities usually play the function not simply for a nuclear family, but for extended families. And as all the budget cuts that have deprived our communities of essential services, as all of the cuts in employment, the layoffs, the shutdowns of production have taken place around the country, the homes that people in our community have been able to gather for themselves become an essential leverage for their economic survival. Because often what homeowners do is they take mortgages out, loans out on their properties when their family members have become unemployed, when they don't have access to health care, when they're denied social services. These houses become a financial leverage for more than the homeowner, and they become a leverage for our community. And so if we allow these banks to take these properties out of the hands of our families and community members, we're actually allowing them to further disempower our entire community and its right to survival. And if we intend to survive, we must put a stop to these mortgage foreclosures and all the other practices that are tied to them. All right? One of those practices that are tied to them, because what the banks are actually trying to do is feed that rental market and control that rental market where they feel that they can raise even more money, whether they're buying or selling properties or not. So we have to tie the mortgage foreclosure question to the question of freezing rents and stopping the outrageous and out of control rent increases.
That's right.
A year and a half ago, the tenant movement in this town turned out more tenants than ever showed up at City Hall to demand a freeze on the rents because people cannot afford these constant increases. And what did the city council do? They slapped them down because the Apartment Owners Association did a massive mobilization and brought pressure on them publicly and behind closed doors. And this kind of corporate power, whether it is for homeowners, or whether it is for tenants, or whether it's for those who have already been displaced, who they call the homeless, who America has thrown out on the streets and abandoned. And we've got to tie all three of those links together, and that's what Occupy the Hood is talking about doing. Martin Luther King's birthday is about 10 days away. And we are calling on you, all of you, and everybody you know to join us together with the Martin Luther King Coalition in a contingent in the Martin Luther King Parade. Demanding an end to mortgage foreclosures in our community. And tying that, we are also demanding that the city council in this city act to implement a freeze on rent increases. And we're going to reignite that campaign together with all of the groups like LA Can and the other tenant organizations in this town that tried to get some justice for tenants a year and a half ago. But we are intending to implement justice this year. I swear to God that's going to happen. And we're going to launch that on Martin Luther King's birthday. So join us and help us to do that. Because what the Occupy movement has done, it has reignited popular struggle in this country for democracy. And that democracy we're talking about is not simply the democracy of equal access to public facilities, et cetera, et cetera. We're talking about the fundamentals of economic democracy. Because without economic democracy, political democracy goes down the drain, and we all know that is what's happening with our political system. So, you know, and I want to particularly thank my friend Carlos here, who initiated. Several months ago, shortly after Occupy LA started, Carlos came out to the GA and he said, look, I'm going to start a homeowners committee for Occupy LA because this issue is too crucial for us not to help those who desperately need help now. And it's got to be more than rhetoric.
Yeah.
And when Carlos did that, I grabbed him and I said, listen, brother, Occupy the Hood is with you 100%.